What it do, baby? We're back. Philly Bets episode 3, rolling right into this fire tonight. I'm Dave Gloeckner. That's my man, Mark Drumheller. What's up, bud?
Oh, look at my wounds after a tough Monday night. Still not over that game. Still cannot believe we put in that kind of performance. So lost a little money Monday night. Pockets a little bit lighter, thanks to our coach Sirianni. But back at it again. We got a ton to talk about this week, Dave. We got the Eagles. We got Temple. We got the Flyers. Everything Philly sports betting. Ready to talk about it. Can't wait.
I love it, man. Yeah, there's a silver lining about Monday night, and that's that I actually got to sleep a little bit. I was all worried about Tuesday being hungover and all foggy and going to work. I was crisp as can be. Listen to the morning show coming in. Everybody was fired up, and I don't blame them. And you hit the nail on the head when you said something about Nick Sirianni. I'm starting to think he's a full-fledged idiot. Now, there's a lot to be said, and there's more games ahead, but I think all he was doing, this beat Dallas stuff, all this Rocky stuff, it's old already. Get out there and call the right plays and let's win some games.
Yeah, he's the worst, man.
Good.
That, rah-rah, oh, I'm going to wear the T-shirts and I'm going to get the fans excited and they're going to make them like me. You know what's going to make me like you, Nick Sirianni? If you don't pass the ball every single play, that's going to make me not like you. How about that? How about when you go up in the biggest divisional matchup of the season against our arch rivals and they rank in the bottom 3 or 4 in yards per play allowed and rushing yards per play allowed, that you maybe give your running back the ball once or twice, and then after he rips off 10 yards, how about you give him the ball a second time? You don't just abandon it. So it was just, I just thought it was a horrible game by Sirianni. But let's not, mask it, right? Jalen Hurts did not come to play either. So it was just a very disappointing game all around.
Well, you know what he does with a poop when he's done with it, right?
Yeah, again,
it. Yeah,
nobody.
Come on, dude.
Nobody wants jokes. Know the room.
Yeah.
Read the room, Jalen Hurts. You know what I want you to say? I want you to say, I'm going to do some curls so I can throw the ball 30 yards down the field. That's what I want you to tell me.
Well, even if he can, he puts the softest air on it, so it's going to be short. And even if he throws it long and it's over the guys, I just don't think he has a right trajectory, I'll call it. The pass he threw to Devontae Smith in week 1, I thought was a hanger that he luckily got a floater to him. But, he's just not good. I mean, 50% completion again, just not good. And let's be honest, that's 7 points by the offense, and that's about it. They got one touchdown really late there, but I'm lucky if I even give them that. First, that defense is atrocious. There were guys running. Dallas Goedert had nobody around him on half the plays. Zach Ertz got a yak of 20 yards on a play. Zach Ertz!
Yep.
Remember
I know, dude. The defense is bad, and they should have took advantage of it. And I just don't know how you go into that game and decide that you're not going to run the ball. I mean, I get it. The NFL is a passing league. It's more efficient to pass the ball, but not when you're playing a defense like Dallas that can't stop the run, right? Then it becomes very efficient. You just keep running it down their throats like we did in week 1 against Atlanta, right? You just keep doing it. It works. You keep doing it. And it was just such a dumb game plan. You think of all the dumb coaches we've seen, Dave, and I honestly think this one takes the cake. Who was the guy? Who was the guy? It was Reed's lapdog that used to follow him everywhere. He was the coach one, and he decided to kick it overtime. What was it? Marty decided to kick it overtime.
Morningweg.
Dumbest coach in the world, right? Dumbest coach in the world. Rich coat tight. I don't have all the cookbook answers. Dumbest coach in the world, right? Nick Sirianni. This is worse. This is worse.
It is.
This is not. And then to give the ball to Miles Sanders and watch him rip off a chunk play and then just completely abandon it. It was just brutal. I could do the whole 40 minutes about Nick Sirianni. Nobody wants to hear that. Let's talk about some winning bets.
And I could too, but I'm going to close with this. I could do 40 more minutes about Jalen Hurts. The guy can't throw a 3-yard square in. I don't even know what you can. I don't even know what offense you can build around him. It's bad. I mean, if he makes that play to Goddard to open the second half, they're down at the 20, and he doesn't throw the pick 6. But it's a simple throw. He can't. It's bad. I mean, I know he's a Swiss Army knife. You can do a lot of little things with him. but wait until this week. That's what I worry about. So let's get into this week. And the big bad Chiefs coming to town. Drums, I got a lot of trends I'm going to throw at you real quick here. And I think you know this one, but I hope the people do too. And that's Kansas City is on a historic pace right now. They're 0-3 against the spread this year. Now going back to last year, they are 1-12-1 in their last 14 games against the spread, including the Super Bowl. The bookmakers just inflate this team, and this team plays a lot of one-possession games. It's just a fact of the matter is teams get up for Kansas City, and that defense, it's very hard for them to really control a game by a wide margin. You're always in it against that defense. So 1-12-1 against the spread, 0-3 this year. All three games have gone over the 54.5 points, which is the over-under in this game. This team plays a lot of high-scoring games, and they can't seem to cover big numbers. Does that bode well?
It should. I mean, listen, there's plenty of opportunity here when you play the Chiefs, right? And, you talked about, like, teams get up for them. I think that's true, but, this defense is a nightmare. It's worse than Dallas's defense. That, they allow 7 yards per play, worst in the NFL, 57% success rate allowed on defense, worst in the NFL. They should be able to score a ton of points, but the knucklehead coach going to dial it up right. That's what you have to worry about. Or is he going to go in there and run the Philly special and have the Greg Ward running around trying to throw a pass?
5.4 yards per carry they allow, 31st in the NFL. They are 32nd in DVOA and from Pro Football Focus on defense.
Yeah, they're the seller.
They allow 161 rushing yards a game. 161.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And I'll be honest with you, I think we see I think Sirianni overdoes it this week. At least I'm praying he overdoes it. And you're going to see like 40 carries.
Doesn't it feel like Doug Peterson? I want to say he had this maybe 2-3 years ago when they were screaming, run the ball. And then they ran like 60-70% of the time the next game.
And we're
like, he listens to the media. And it was against the Chiefs. And I feel like you're going to, yes, I do. I think it's going to be spoon-fed. I think they're going to, look, we all know he's not really calling the plays. I know he's got a sheet. He might call that play. But, you know where the plays are coming from, Howie. But, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of runs in this game, and I think you're going to see them overdo it. But I think to the extent that it's the right move. It's absolutely the right move against this team.
Yeah, and that's how you have to attack them. You got to run at them, and you got to keep Mahomes and those guys off the field, right? And it doesn't mean you just hand the ball off every play, but, you get the short passing game going. But once you establish that run, right, it kind of, you start to wear the defense down. And listen, we know we have depth issues on the offensive line now. Everybody's hurt again. They fire the trainer every year. Every year, everyone still gets hurt. I have no idea what's going on with the team from that perspective. They're like a mash unit. But here we are again in the same issue. So now we got to play with some depth on the offensive line. So what's the best way to get those guys comfortable? Have them going forward, not backwards, right? Run the ball, have them going forward, having them be the aggressor, wear down the defensive line in Kansas City. So that's how they need to attack it. And, like I think it's very, covering this number against a team like Kansas City is very obtainable. Whether they do it is going to be a different story, because I'll tell you what, they're not playing Dalton Schultz this weekend or whoever that clown is on the Cowboys. Like, they're playing a different tight end.
Yeah, Travis Kelce and Schultz was running wild. Kelsey's going to have a big one. And that was another thing that disappointed me, I think, is that the Eagles tried to take away the big plays from Dallas and really got gashed up the middle. Now they're sitting here, and they're 22nd in the league against the rush, and you're having a Chiefs team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, he's been able, outside of the fumbling issues, he's actually been able to run the ball pretty effectively. He's averaging just about 5 yards per carry. So I think that's really the matchup that the Eagles need to exploit. They really need to – look, Tyreek Hill's going to get behind. The other guys are too. I just think you got to show some different looks on defense. What's bothered me is they've only blitzed 10 times on 91 dropbacks this year. They've only created 23% quarterback pressures this year. Defense is just bending, not breaking until they play Dallas. But they've been okay, right? They were pretty good the first 2 games, but they're just not doing much. Like they finally created a turnover. They got lucky with that, but that was their first one created all season. You're going to need to do more against Patrick Mahomes. Teams are blitzing Mahomes this year. and it's giving them different looks. You can't sit there with cover 2 against him. You can't.
No, he's going to eat you alive. But you know what? I mean, let's be honest. Patrick Mahomes is going to eat them alive anyway. The Eagles are going to have to score points to keep up and to cover this number, and that's really what it comes down to. 21 points not going to cut it, right? KC is going to be in the 30s. So we got to get in the 30s or to cover this number. Can they do it against this defense? Yeah, it seems like everyone else does. I don't know why the Eagles shouldn't. They have some talent there. But they really have to control the ball with the running game and play everything off that. And it's really going to be the difference. And even if they get down early, they got to run at them. They got to try and slow them down. They got to wear it down because if they try and get in a shootout with Patrick Mahomes, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's a lot of other trends. They're kind of like polarizing, and they absolutely play against each other. Eagles 1-6 against the AFC West in the last 7 games they played. Now, obviously, that's every 4 years, so it's hard to connect the dots there. But then you look at them; they're 2-9 straight up as an underdog recently. But weren't they bad last year? So easy to say, right? Now the under has actually fared very well, especially Lincoln Financial, where the Eagles are 35-17 on their last 52 games. But then the Chiefs are 5-2 to the over in their last 7 road games. So there's a lot of bounce back. When you really look at this game, Eagles 1-2 against the spread this year. Kansas City 0-3. Eagles on a trend lately, not very good against the spread. Obviously, Kansas City a little worse. When that happens to me as a bettor, then I look at the stats. And that's what we started to lay out there, the numbers that really matter. And I think the other part now you need to look at too is the optics. And the Eagles looked like absolute trash to the public on Monday night. I got to see where this line moves. I have a feeling you see 7.5, a lot of books now. If this thing doesn't go past 7.5, I really think Vegas is a little scared and knows the smart money should be on the Eagles. So my betting analysis right now is I am leaning Eagles just based upon the Chiefs' inability to cover big lines, their defense being the worst in all of the NFL. I don't know how you can cover 7.5. Lighting up that many yards, 7 yards per play, you said. It's just atrocious. So, and I think the Eagles can be creative. I think Jalen Hurts will have room to move, run, small screens. Miles Sanders up the middle all day. I think they can keep this within the number. So I'm leaning the Eagles right now. That would be my play on this game. Am I crazy?
You're not. I mean, listen, I couldn't bet the Chiefs. Now, this game opened at 5.5, and I know a lot of people I respected jumped all over the Chiefs at that number, right? So the early look ahead was at 5.5. Then the Eagles play Monday night, and they pull it off the board, and they go right through to 7, right? So now you're seeing some 7.5s in the market. Makes a lot of sense because obviously, people are downgrading the Eagles based off that performance on a Monday night. But I think, if I can get the key number of 7, I take a stab with the Eagles. Don't love it, right? Not going to really, run to the window on this one. But I do think it's the side. Definitely not playing the money line. Not sure if it's a game that they can win outright. Especially with the Chiefs being at 1-2, not going to drop to 1-3. So, but I definitely think I would play them before. I mean, how are you going to bet Kansas City at 7 when they never cover? And their defense stinks. They let everybody score at will, and they never cover. So, every time you bet them, they lose. The defense can't stop anyone. So you're gonna lay a big number like this. I can't do it. I think the Eagles keep this one competitive.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I will punch it in come Sunday. I just want to see where this thing kind of settles out. So I don't think there's value from a betting perspective. Well, there's some, but you know where this is going to go. You know where the public is seeing it. I don't think
might as well wait till kickoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
We can see 9. Because here's the deal: is they're going to, if enough money starts coming in on Kansas City, they're going to move it right to the 9 to get it away from the teasers. Like they're not going to want it in the teasers because they're not going to want people teasing down, 7.5, 8.5. They're going to just run it right to the 9. And then, they're going to make them tease it down to the 3, which no one's going to do. So they'll put a little teaser protection in there, knowing that KC is probably going to win the game outright. But so I would wait till kickoff, grab the 9 if it gets there, the 8.5, whatever, and hope for the best.
Yeah, and if I do play teaser, which I did earlier in the year with the Eagles, I would actually look to put Tennessee with them right now. Tennessee's a 7-point fave at the Jets, and I think even though their defense is terrible in the Jets, but
Jets outright, baby.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. But that's where I'd lean right now. Hey, I will give you one prop bet I am looking at, and it's based upon numbers again. The Eagles have allowed only 34 yards rushing to opposing quarterbacks so far. Dak Prescott only had 6, and that's a factor of what I talked about earlier when they've only blitzed 10 out of 91 dropbacks. They're playing this big cloud cover. They don't want anybody behind them. And if you realize, and which we do here in Philly, that with McLeod out, now Kayvon Wiles, maybe the safety situation is bad, right? So they're really trying to just keep everything in front of them, and that doesn't allow quarterbacks a lot of room to run. Mahomes has had over 60 yards this year so far, so averaging roughly 20 yards a game rushing. I think this one, his number's at 15.5 right now. I would take under the Mahomes rushing total. I just think if the Eagles continue to play that kind of, bend don't break, keep everything in front of you defense, not blitz, and not play man-to-man, as you saw a lot too. I don't think Mahomes is going to have a lot of rushing opportunities. I think he's just going to pick them apart. So that's one prop I'm definitely going to,
Yeah, I like that one too. And another interesting angle is once Mahomes starts running, and we've seen this a lot against the Eagles defense so far, the tight ends are wide open. So they just throw it at that point. They don't need to run too much because the tight ends seem to get open whenever the plays break down. So, under on the rushing yard sounds good to me.
Do we have linebackers?
We do, and you know what? I like them, man. Like, I don't like heavy metal. Like, heavy metal's a mess.
He's terrible.
He got trucked by Elliott, dude.
Yeah,
oh man, I was ready to call 911 for him.
I needed him to win a fantasy football game, and he did. But all his tackles are like holding on to people's shoelaces.
He's holding on to dear life, dude. He can't cover anybody. He's just brutal. And but I like the kid Edwards, dude. The kid Edwards pops people. Now, he can't cover anybody either, but none of them can. But I like the kid Edwards. I think they got to rebuild that part of the defense. They got all the money tied up in the line, and they're not getting enough pressure. They got the strip play against Dak, but you want more than that on a continuous basis.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that's our Eagles breakdown for this week.
I'm bitter
right now. I think we're going to punch that ticket, so keep an eye on that. All right, hey, a couple other Philly things going on right now. One of them, I'll just congratulate you if you were on it earlier, but the Phillies did get over their win total for the year at 80.5. They're probably going to stay right at 81 the rest of the way. But hey, good for anyone that took that. I did not have the heart to take that this year. I just had no idea what this team would do. And as you can see, Aaron Nola come up big in September again tonight, getting rocked. So the season's over, but
we are so bitter tonight, man. I'll tell you what, it's all falling apart. But
well, they're down 3-2, but I still have no faith that they're gonna come on.
No, it's Charlie Brown all over again. Lucy's holding the football, waiting for you to come kick it, and then
well, you're down 4 in the loss column with 5 left, so it doesn't even if they win, whatever.
There's not a big margin for error, and they always come through with some errors. So
but Drums, I wanted to talk to you about the Flyers. And listen, Flyers are nice. We got a good podcast here on the Heat Ratio. They always bringing in good guests. I know they recently had Terrian in there. They've had Morgani. Really good guests. It's a great listen. If you ever get a chance, watch it. But hey, that season's here. It's only 2 weeks away. Dropping the puck for real on October 15th, but they just had their first preseason game last night against New Jersey, whatever. But listen,
I had the over. I didn't hit.
What, 3-2 or something?
I had the over 5.5. It didn't get there. It didn't get home. I just figured, hey, listen, I knew they made some changes on the defense, but
I didn't recognize anybody. I had to get my mind right. You're right, but there's 12 new people out of the 23 they carry, and it's really
they brought in Yandel, they brought in Ellis, they brought in some defense, man, and I love it. I love it because they got.
And I like that Atkinson. I like Atkinson over Voracek. I think that because he's a sniper, right? And Voracek's just a passer. I need guys to put pucks in net, not to just pass when they got an open net. So I'm good with that. We got enough facilitators in Giroux and some others. Obviously, let Patrick go too. This is a whole new shape of a team that I think really could go one of two ways. And as a better, I think I'm going to try and pounce on the opportunity to look at their season total over. And the reason being, I think you might be, they were bad last year. They were one of the bottom 3 in the whole Eastern Conference. I don't think they're going to have a lot of eyes on them, but they've made all these wholesale changes where they could really come out and surprise you early. I think there's value in the team total over. Now, things got to work, right? They got to fit, and I get that. But I think if you're better, I think you're in a better opportunity to take the over and take the chance because the market value is good for them right now. I think, what are we at, 92.5?
I think it is 92.5 on DraftKings. I thought I saw that earlier. So point
Yeah.
total on the season, 92.5. I like it too. I think the Flyers are going to surprise some people this year, man. I think, I was really critical when they got rid of Hextall and, they made these changes because I'm like, I don't know about Fletcher. Like, we're going to see. But he brought in some big names in defense, and it seems like he gets it. Like, Hayes was an incredible signing. So, I'm excited for the team. I think that that's really the key, right? They got to get Hart back on track, so they got to put some defense in front of them. They just can't let them sit there and get shelled every night out there. So I like it. I like what they're doing. I think it brings them, a new energy. They got some leadership, with Ellis and those guys. So I'm definitely on the Flyers. I think they're a bet on. I think it's 92.5 is the point total. So I would hit that over.
Yeah, I like it. And I think we'll get into that a little more as the season gets.
I think they're like plus 900 to win the division, which is, probably a little rich. Probably don't want to go that far, but.
Yeah, it's a little rich just when you have teams that are so. I mean, the Islanders have obviously, exceeded expectations, played really well the past few years, and Barry Trotz you can't go against. But Washington is still strong and seems to reload every year. Pittsburgh, I don't know where they're at just because they're getting really long in the tooth. You could possibly see them sneak in the top 3-4. I'll look at what their playoff odds when we get back into this next week. But the Flyers, just a quick hit on them. Lean towards over right now. Let's see where
play on, brother. Play on with the Flyers.
All right, you got anything else as far as some Philly bets go? You looking at Temple, Memphis?
Temple, Memphis. Not sure I'm betting Temple this week. They failed. I'll tell you. Remember last week we couldn't get the line. Like, they didn't have the line out for Temple. They were playing Wagner. The Seahawks were like, "Who is this team?" It's like Bishop Sycamore. They're rolling them out there. No. And the initial line came out. It was like 28. I saw. And I was like, I can't lay 28 with Temple. Then it got bet up that they took it off the board. They rolled it back out at like 38. They ended up winning 41-7. So they didn't cover that big number, but I'm sure there was a lot of variance depending on your sports book of where that number is, just because Wagner is, such an unknown from a team. But now they play a very, very well-known team with the Memphis Tigers. Coming off a heartbreaking loss, but in a season where, Memphis has really exceeded my expectations for them coming in. Big win against Miss State, I think they beat this year. I mean, they're a pretty good team.
They did. Well, that was that funky punt return that the guy kneeled the ball and they let him go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that stuff, man. Everyone's like, they should have, it shouldn't have been you know what? Pick up the ball and run. Go ahead, man. These refs
still had chances to win. Yeah, they still had chances to win after that. Come on.
But I think the line's weird. Like, it's lined at 11 right now. They're laying 11 points. But when I look at these two teams, like, just forget about Wagner right now. Okay, Temple won, and it's like, how are they going to come out and respond against a team of that caliber? When they played BC, was 28-3. They just were not really competitive. And I'm just not sure, BC is a better program than Memphis, but I'm not real sure that they can really compete at this level. And the Tigers are a team that can score some points. So, I mean, you look at it, they're averaging 478 yards a game, 31 points, or 39 points, So, I mean, they're going to put some points on the board. And I just don't know if Temple's offense is built enough to catch up.
Well, the key, and I've been on a lot of Memphis games lately. Had the Roadrunners last week. Was really excited about that game. I think that what I've seen out of Memphis is they are very physical. They're actually a very good running team. They struggled. I mean, Miss State, they scored a punt return, but I think their offense only put up 13 that game. But again, you're talking about a different level of competition. I think they licked their chops this week, and they see a Temple team out there where they can just really do a lot of things that they've been trying to do on offense, and they've played 2-3 tough defenses in a row. I I don't see how Temple, they're 102nd in offense out of 130 teams. I don't see how they put up enough points to really stay with Memphis. I'm with you. I'm not touching it. But man, it just looks
I would
easy.
listen. Let's get something straight. I would never bet against the Owls, right? But
Yeah, I got you.
I think, but I'm not going to bet them. I'm not going to bet on them either. This week. It's just like I said, Memphis is a high scoring team. Their defense isn't great, but they're probably going to be good enough to slow down Temple a little bit. And I just think this number's short. Like I just think it's a short number. At 11. I could easily see Memphis winning this game. 35-21 or somewhere in that range.
Yeah, yeah. All right, bud. I got a couple others that I just want to throw out there. And if you got anything else, I'm going to tell you Friday Night Football is going to be live this week. And as we get into betting for breakfast on Saturday and we get into all the great games, I mean, this ticket is so hot on Saturday. I got to lay one out there that I think is just as hot. And that's the Iowa Hawkeyes going to my Maryland Terrapins. And I say my because before the season, it's one of my big bets over their win total. Really felt good about Maryland this year. They've been very solid. They beat a good West Virginia team. They kind of let down against Illinois on Thursday night recently, actually Friday night. And then just this past weekend, which I thought could have been a big letdown game, they'll go out and blow the doors off. And they're looking good coming into this matchup, 2 undefeated teams. And what I want to tell you is SP Plus is one of the rankings I look at closely. I look at a bunch of them. Has the Maryland Terrapins as the better team than Iowa. They have Maryland ranked overall at 24th and Iowa all the way down to 28th. A lot of these advanced metrics really don't give Iowa the respect based upon some of the things that they've seen. Pace of play and some other yards per play, explosive plays that you like to do and look at. Iowa does not rank very well in that, but Maryland does. And this looks like a short line. This looks like a line like, please let people bet into Iowa because we really think Maryland's going to win this one outright. And for me, I love Maryland in this game. I really like him. I don't know if you have a take on him. Tua's brother's the quarterback. There's a lot of good offensive potential on this team. They're explosive at the wide receiver position. The key will be in the trenches. Can they block Iowa? Tua, his brother, throws some picks. That was his big flaw last year. He's settled that down now. I think Maryland can. I think that College Park's going to be hype come Friday. I like it.
Yeah. I think Maryland's the side. I mean, Iowa just they're going to have to get a lot of turnovers. I mean, that's what they do. If they can't operate on a short field, then the offense isn't going to be able to get it done. And, I think Maryland has big play potential on offense. I think, you talked about that a little bit. And I think, they get those explosive plays, they get on the scoreboard, and then it gets real tight for Iowa, right? And, Iowa can't really open up to kind of come back. Now, I think that Maryland could definitely play within the number. I would definitely take them in the points.
Yeah, I like it. All right. I like when we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's a good one. I saw that and I was like, this number is high, man. They're not giving Maryland any respect.
Well, I think that's public number. I think
it's Iowa's high in the rankings, and they're just going to back them anyway.
Yeah, what's Iowa up to 5th or 6th, right? And Maryland's not ranked, so I mean, people they're luring them in. They're luring them in, and then wait until you see what happens come Friday night. That place, they are 5th against an unranked team, only a 3-point, a light fave. Can't wait. All right. We always used to do the golf show here on Wednesday night. I will tell you the new PGA Tour season is coming in. I'm not going to get into it in depth, but I'm going to say the Sanderson Farms Championship. One of the neat things about this tournament and this wraparound season, now a new season, is that it's normally rookies. In this tournament, 6 out of the last 7 winners have been first-time winners on the PGA Tour. It's a tough one. There are just so many good names out there. Will Zalatoris, the Rookie of the Year in the PGA, is playing. A lot of people like him this week. Sam Burns, who put on, he had a great year last year. Could have really been considered for the Ryder Cup, is playing. And he's a favorite to win this tournament. But I'm putting my money on Cameron Tringale. This guy at 25-1, he's been knocking on the door. And this is a long course. He's a big hitter. 7,500 yards is quite a bit. I like Mito Pereira a little bit, but for me, he's still a guy that relies on accuracy and not as much distance. I think that'll probably hurt him down the stretch. So Mito is one I'll probably put a little bit on, but my big bet will be on Cameron Tringale Loving some golf, especially this time of year. This is the best time of year to play golf, man.
Yeah, it is. It's nice, man. Nice and crisp out there. Hoodie season.
Yeah. Hoodie season. That's right. That's why I got one on tonight. Drums, you got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
Nah, that's it, man. That's it. Thoughts and prayers to the Eagles. Let's hope they can keep it close, be competitive.
Absolutely. And look, a Thursday night football. Only thing I want to ask you is, when does Urban Meyer quit?
I know. Maybe Friday. Who knows? I mean, listen,
It could be, dude.
It's a big number, but I think Cincinnati's a lot better than they get credit for. They had that awful game against Chicago, but they look sharp in the other two. And I'll tell you what, Urban Meyer and this team looks woefully, unprepared every week. And now he's on a short week; he has less time to prepare. I'm not betting Jacksonville, that's for sure.
They're 29th in DVOA offense. They're 27th in DVOA defense. They're atrocious on both sides of the ball. Yep. Outside of 2 return touchdowns, like they average 17.7 points a game. You take those out, and they're down like 14. Lawrence is throwing the ball over the field. The Bengals are sneaky. He's lost. And I still think he's talented, and I think he'll be good. But I think he needs a new coach already. But the Bengals, they're 6-2 at home in their last 8 against the spread. They're one of those teams that, and Jamar Chase has already scored 4 touchdowns this year. T. Higgins will be out. He is good. I think the big number is fine with this game. I think the Bengals probably cover. They're my side. They're my lean. I tend to like the over a little bit. I know I missed the over last week. You hit the under. But Thursday night football yields a lot more points typically. And I think McCaffrey's injury last week obviously tilted the scale a little bit, but I think you see some picks. And these 2 quarterbacks, young, I think some picks. And picks or turnovers are what really, flip the script on over. So those are my 2 leans. Not sure where I'll go yet, but hey, at least it's a game, right? I mean, it's not the
it'll be fun. Listen, man, you see the maturation of Joe Burrow, and it's fun to watch. You know what I mean? And the Bengals have been such a crap organization for so long. So seeing those fans have a little bit of hope and something to look forward to. They'll bring Joe Brady in there next year probably, and they'll get that thing going.
I love it. All right, bud. Till another week. Let's hope we get some Eagles action. At least let's keep this game within the number. Let's have a fun time Sunday. So we had a little reprieve. Feel a little better when we get into the show next week, because we were a little angst this week, and I don't blame us. Dude's an idiot. But hey, we'll get to next week. He's the worst. Until next week, bud. Can't wait to talk again. And for those of you who want to see us talk college football, catch us on the Sharp app on Saturdays mornings talking college football. Last week, 3-0 from your boy and 2-1 from Drums. We were on fire. We were hitting on all cylinders. You got to watch it. Betting for breakfast. And then, as always, keep up with us on the Heat Ratio YouTube channel app. We're here. We're there. We're everywhere. Stay tuned. Big things coming. Until next week, Drums. Thanks, brother.
Let's go get paid.
Let's do it. Later.
Good.